Hello, everybody. Tim Hughes here. I'm the CEO and co-founder of DLA Ignite. Today, I've got Oleg, and we're going to be talking about his new book. And the book is called The Fisherman's Path to Leadership, 224 Lessons from the Wisdoms of Nature. Now, the book isn't about fishing, though kind of it is. And Oleg's going to talk about it. And so, Oleg, tell us where people can find you.
Right. Tim, first of all, thank you very much for inviting me on your show.
You're welcome.
I'm honored. I love your show, and I'm listening it, I want to say every show, but, you're doing a great work in this sense.
I'm always looking for interesting people. And I saw you on LinkedIn, and I saw that you had a new book, and I thought, I've got to get Oleg on.
Yeah. So people could find me through my books like The Fisherman's Path to Leadership, but actually I'm very active on LinkedIn, and they could connect with me. I'm responding to messages, or they could go on my website, olegkonovalov.com. So I'm fairly responsive to the messages.
And we can get a copy of your book on Amazon.
Absolutely. And it seems to me it's gone even broader now beyond the Amazon. And it's already under translation into Arabic language, into Russian language, into Turkish language. So it goes quite well. Thanks. It seems to me people love thinking a bit differently beyond AI.
Yes. So one of the things that's really interesting about the book is that you started off as a second engineer on a trawler. Your job was basically to keep the engine going while it was out on sea.
Well, it sounds very, very nice, but actually not. You must handle fish whilst being responsible for all the gear, main engine, for everything that turns, everything that makes noise.
Yes, because you talk in the book about the fact that that on a trawler there can be no passengers. Everybody basically has to have a job, and everybody needs to know what they're doing because it's was it you said was it every 3 days a trawler is lost out at sea?
No, every day.
Every day.
One trawler is lost. Every day, one fisherman is lost at least. This is one of the 10 most deadliest or dangerous professions in the world. And therefore, it's not about show. It's about doing your best every day. It's not about KPI. It's simply all performing at their best. If you're a passenger, call it so, you wouldn't be on a trip next time.
And that's the thing, isn't it? What you've done is you've made this connection between your experiences in fishing and you're a fisherman yourself and leadership.
Leadership is about doing your best for the benefit of others, right? It's not about, hey, it's okay, it's acceptable. It's nothing like that. Because you're always exploring, you're always learning. Tim, we just mentioned in our conversation before, people often talk about a learning curve. But unfortunately, majority of people are not learning. They tend to repeat the same mistakes and they're saying, yeah, it's okay, it's acceptable. So more or less, they're going through the learning fall. They're not getting lessons. They're not getting better. When you go fishing, you know nothing. You can't predict the weather. You don't know what's going on under the water. You can't think like a fish. You might pretend to be that way, but it doesn't work. So you can't predict all the circumstances. Therefore, you must be prepared to learn every time from nature, from other people, from lessons that you will face, from challenges that you face. Every storm is a blessing, right? Because put it in a simple way, it reveals the truth about you, about others, how you would behave, how you act. Are you surrender to a storm, or are you becoming the storm yourself? You know, it's more or less you are either a victim or you're a true leader, you're confident, and you're spreading that confidence for others. And they're becoming the storm themselves. We're facing challenges every day now. And with more changes we're facing now, we'll face even more storms. So you must be a storm yourself that is greater than any forthcoming challenges. Therefore, you're called a leader. Otherwise, you're just a victim. Doesn't work.
I thought it was funny that the funny in inverted commas that the captain that you went out with on the trawler always went out in rough seas.
Oh,
And
yeah.
the reason why he did that was that nobody else went out. Therefore, when you came back with fish, it was more expensive.
Oh, yeah.
Because there was less fish to have.
It was, I would tell you, in a common sense, it was at least twice more expensive because the demand is there, but supply is very low. And therefore, it's one thing. Another thing is, there is an old saying in salmon fishing, and it's relevant to the sea fishing. The rougher the weather, the fish feels more comfortable.
Right.
In another, like in Scandinavia, they call it the more comfortable fish because of the weather, a less comfortable a fisherman. Therefore, you must think, okay, where the best things could be found, not in the comfort zone. And that is the most rewarding if you do something beyond your own comfort.
There's a bit in the book where you talk about becoming the storm, and you just describe that in a domestic boat, so on a ferry or on basically the boat is allowed to move 15 degrees maximum. And I've been in that and I've felt sick. And whereas you said that a trawler can basically move 45.
45? No. It could move up to 60 degrees.
Right.
But 45 is a normal teals and teens in terms when you're really handling a fish or trawling. It doesn't matter. It works for you. And it doesn't matter. It's not from side to side. It's in all dimensions. More or less, think of a reality of the business world. You're pushed by events, currency exchanges, market failures. It's all adding those stormy things. You're always on a rock and roll, and it adds that vibration because of people, because of uncertainties and things like that. You are afraid, I will be sick. You will be sick. It's okay. Nothing wrong with that. It's a matter how you are infusing into your mind that notion, I'll feel sick and I will be helpless. Or you'll say, okay, I will be sick, but I will take care of my duties.
And that's when you talk about how in leadership, because of all these things coming at us, people leaving, people joining, competition, and that we ultimately we have to become the storm.
We are. And again, it wouldn't make us fearless. No, it will make us more experienced to go through those storms. I never saw anyone fearless facing storms. And I work with such guys who still remember those steamships, those mature guys, sea wolves. And they're just like, oh man, that's a storm, and they were very realistic. But they know what to do and how to handle these things, regardless of challenges. And it was great, amazing experience. You wouldn't learn it from the books.
So what is it that What other things do you think that we can actually learn from fishing, that we can actually have this metaphor with leadership?
One of the greatest challenges I notice, look, I've trained and coached leaders from 40 countries so far. And for most of those leaders, uncertainty or feeling an uncertainty is a big issue. But uncertainty is normal. It's okay. The way you go should be a certainty. When you go fishing, what's a certainty do you have? None. Zero. And therefore, you're creating certainty yourself. You know what you do, you know why do you do this, and you do your best, and you will win. Again, we are all facing losses. If you look at those economic news or business news, this company shares dropped by so much. So more or less, even giants are falling. It's not about bursting into tears, oh, I faced a loss. It's nothing about this. Because you define well when this final whistle will sound, no one else. If you faced a loss, it's okay. It's not a final thing. You will decide how to move forward. You still have a capacity to do more. And that uncertainty, being afraid of a loss, lack of a confidence, it freezes people. They're just like becoming really stand still. They don't move. They don't think. And I think we're facing AI. AI is a great thing.
It's fantastic.
It is phenomenal. But in my view, AI reflects a level of our stupidity. In a good sense, it reflects how much do we know about known things.
Yep.
But it can't help us to reveal something unknown. This is a human duty or role to explore unknown things and then to code it into AI, and I will be sharing it through its system. But AI can't feel. We might train AI to think like humans, but it wouldn't be realistic in terms of emotions, lessons, or picking up the things which standing on our subconscious mind. It will be facts. It's only facts. But life is not a matter of facts. It's a matter of impressions and emotions. This is what we learn, or where we learn. And AI would not help us to develop that willpower to fight through the challenges.
Yeah, I think with AI is so powerful, but it is facts. It's yes or no's or give me a list of keywords or something like that.
Yeah, it will develop over a time, but again, to a limit. Humans are not AI units. Humans are more powerful than AI. They're more complicated. They are richer. They are greater than any AI. And therefore, leading people, it's not about being smart. I have learned that fishing is a labor of love, and leadership is a labor of love. And love and care for people are my best tackles to get people on board. AI wouldn't help you with that.
So you've gone from being I didn't want to talk about this at the beginning, but you've gone from being a second engineer on a trawler to a CEO, to an advisor of CEOs. What a journey.
At a certain point, I realized, and it was fairly late, I believe, already, but at that time I was Eastern Europe sales director for a large fishing company. And I was just, and I realized, hey, I don't want to spend evenings doing nothing, watching TV. I want to learn because the world is changing ultimately. And I got for diploma, for master's degree, for doctoral degree, because creating and living, if we want to be successful in the future, it's not about taking something from the past and repeating it again and again. It's about reinventing yourself again and again. It's like in salmon fly fishing. If you've been successful last year, it doesn't make you successful this year. You must find a new approaches. Successful fly of the previous season wouldn't be successful in this season. You must relearn it again and again and again.
You talk in the book about how you were salmon fishing and you lost the fish.
Oh, yeah.
But you talk about how what you're trying to do when you go salmon fishing is ultimately understand the environment that you're in. But as you said, you don't know what's going on underneath the water. And you have limitations in terms of the rod and the reel and the line and stuff. And you basically caught a fish and the line snapped. And you were trying to blame it on the line. And actually what it was that you realized that there was a knot that you tied. And you talk in the book about a calculation that every knot that you tie basically creates weakness. But what you were doing is that you were trying to force the environment and actually that was the weakness.
It is, because environment taught me to be simple in my approaches, simple and straightforward. One of the basics in fishing is about how to tie knots. The mastery of fishing is about how to tie less knots.
Less knots, yeah.
And the same in leadership. It's not about making things complicated. Team, all of us were taught how to make things complicated, right? How to go the complicated route, how to do things complicated. And even today, many leaders assume that showing that how things are complicated is some kind of a greatness of leadership. Hey, I'm great because I know how to make things complicated. No, it's about how to make things simple. If things are complicated, they're never executable. If they're complicated, no one will buy those things. No one will understand them. I brought an example because I witnessed this many times in real life. In Arctic, indigenous people, what they do, they're taking an old can instead of fancy rod and reel and something expensive and complicated. They're winding a fishing line on an old can, right? Attaching a lure and throwing it by hand. My first experience was I caught none. The guy who was standing with that next to me caught 3. Just like that. And I just like, man, am I complicated? I have a phenomenal rod that cost a ton of money. Beautiful airspace engineered reel. He's more successful. And the guy looked at me saying, nah, too complicated. It wouldn't work. And he was right, because we're making our life, we're making what we do as leaders extremely complicated. But it's a beauty of making things simple. Not simplified, but simple. And then it works, it's executable. People will join you on a sport because it's easy for them to understand. When things are complicated, you even have difficulty explaining what is so valuable in your solution for people, because they see complexity, they don't see a value. Therefore, it's like fish. If it's simple, okay, the fish would react or respond somehow. If it's too complicated or something in there, the fish will be spooked.
So we've learned through fishing that we need to be the storm, that we need to keep things simple. that we I'm trying to summarize here, Oleg. We need to
appreciate the loss.
Yes, yeah, we need to make sure that we are controlling the environment that we can, but we can never control everything.
No. We must be a part of that environment.
Yes.
You know, we are not visitors. We are part of that environment. And therefore, not to be a joyrider, be a contributor to it. And that would make us things. Fishing, you know, many people, even when they're watching those Discovery Channel show about fishing, they are already in panic even sitting in front of TV. It's not about panic. Panic is not our style, because there is always a solution. Therefore, we need leaders who are creating solutions, not about running around and saying we're in trouble. I'll give you a simple instance. Many businesses are facing challenges or even at the brink of being bankrupt. What I have learned through my life, when we are in distress, we must be clear, either the company in distress or a leader in distress. In most cases, if a company as a ship is still solid, nothing wrong with that, right? You're still producing something and it's still demanded. In most cases, it's a leader in distress. He is thinking wrongly and acting wrongly. So it's not about panicking. It's about being calm. And I love that British saying, stay calm and move forward. It's not about panicking.
Oleg, thank you so much for coming on and talking about your book, The Fisherman's Path to Leadership, 224 Lessons from the Wisdom of Nature. And I can get a copy we can all get a copy on Amazon, can't we?
Absolutely.
And
it's available on Amazon in Kindle, in paperback, in hard copy.
In Turkish, in Russian soon, and in Arabic.
In Arabic.
And where can we find you? We can get you on LinkedIn.
LinkedIn or my website, olegkonovalov.com.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for coming on and talking about your book. It's been excellent.
Thank you, team. Thank you very much.